call the Village of Midlothian special board meeting to order at 7 o'clock. Roll call.
Trustee Gillis.
Here.
Trustee Gilly. Trustee Kreis.
Here.
Trustee LaRue.
Here.
Trustee Moskal.
Here.
Trustee Shidoni.
Here.
Mayor Radak.
Here.
You have the floor.
Please stand for the pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, I'd like to open the floor to public comment. If you'd like to address the board, now would be your time. Yes.
Valerie Weiskirk, Midlothian, Illinois. I'm really super enthusiastic after the Finance Committee meeting less than 2 hours ago. There were certainly some points of disappointment and concern, including cash flow. However, it was certainly relieving to get some updates about where we're at financially and to hear, especially from you, Mayor Ryback, the update that we do have the money for the bonds put aside to the escrow is great news. And I hope you're as excited as we are when it comes to something like that. There were two other things, though, that happened during the meeting that crossed my mind that I wanted to bring up. The first one is the McGladrey-Pullen connection and this point of wanting to put it out to RFP. I went back home after the meeting and I double-checked the campaign contributions of former candidates of Morawski and Stevens. And McGladrey from 2005 all the way through 2008 donated well over, let's see, 2750, well over $6,000 to a political campaign. Robinson Engineering from 1999 to 2009 donated $11,100, again to, Morawski's campaign. The other thing that got me was AWIN Management, which they donated $4,140. Now, the reason I'm bringing up those other companies in this topic is it's my understanding we're going to talk about garbage tonight, and AWIN Management, for example, that's our garbage company. We all know how Robinson Engineering plays a role in our life. And we also noticed with the McGladrey-Pullen. I'm kind of hopeful with the audit going out to RFP that maybe we can finally start stepping away from some of the vendors we used to have and start finding some vendors that are really ready to sink their teeth into our problems, unlike McGladrey-Pullen. And I do have some concerns still about Robinson Engineering, as I know you guys do, although COSA's been very helpful since we made, one of the trustees brought up, I think it was either Don or Gary, that we're going to put it out to bid if they don't step it up. So the other point of matter that I wanted to bring up really fast is there was talk about the grant money. And apparently the grant money came from the Capital Improvement Bond Fund. Now, I don't understand bonds entirely, but from what I read, and I read that document, even though the money could be spent arguably on water infrastructure, it caused us to fall short of the money that we're going to need to pay for a water tower, is the numbers that I pulled out of this afternoon's meeting, and that the last numbers, Alan, that you gave of the 1.6, which you did correct this afternoon, but Don even threw in that it could even be down to like 1.16 million in the account. I hope sometime over the next few weeks, perhaps we can finally iron out, rather than my making point that this is a definite, that sometime over the next few weeks we can figure out exactly where we're at. Because right now it looks like great, we're paying the bonds, great news. We can't buy a water tower, not good news. You know what I mean? So it's a mixed bag of tricks. So, just thank you guys for stepping up the game. Every single one of you, and I know that the community appreciates it. No matter how crabby we get, we all get our days. But those two in particular, especially the McGladrey and Pullen, I would love to see them go. They have done nothing but, to me, and I've read their reports, it's to me been nothing but garbage. And lastly, Civic Plus contract, I certainly hope we can finally get rid of them. The idea that we paid $30,000 plus for our website is still kind of heartaching to me, and it's my understanding the contract is up and that we need to renegotiate or do whatever we need to do. So I hope we find someone else, maybe even local, somebody who might know Midlothian kind of thing. That way our website can get that extra jump that we deserve, that I know we can produce kind of thing. So that's all I have
Appreciate your comments, Deborah. Is there anybody else? Yes.
Jackie Hill. I was wondering if somebody could be a little more explicit about how this whole water collection is being managed.
So in terms of the outstanding water bills, the
Right.
village you're referring to, so we started in the beginning of March,
Right.
looking at the largest and oldest outstanding water bills. And we had a list of, I think in the first week it was something around 30, another 20 the following week, and 15 or 16 the week after that to be put on the shut-off list. We don't, as a general rule, do shut-offs in the winter when there's a lot of snow or freezing weather. So there was a large number of them to be done in early March. I don't have the exact numbers because I got the water report today right before the finance committee meeting. So I didn't have time other than the summary sheet, which was printed out, to look at all the details by section and update the number of shut-offs, but I can have that for the next meeting for sure.
Okay.
But we are going after the largest and the oldest unpaid bills and shutting them off. And I know at least, I don't have the exact percentage, so I'm almost hesitant to quote it, but I know at least from the first week shut off, I think we had at least 50% of the people came in within the first or second day to pay their bill or arrange a payment plan to be turned, and pay enough to be turned back on.
Yeah. So it's been more than 30 days, because I come to all the meetings, and I know it was the finance committee meeting a month ago. And I understand that it was the largest amounts owed, and that so many were being turned off a week. But how is it actually being managed? Who is reviewing it? What exactly are you looking for? Do people have to pay their whole bill? Can they work out some kind of a payment schedule with the village? How are you managing it?
All very good questions. The water clerk is the keeper of the list of outstanding bills by account. And so she's the one that reviews the list and selected the largest and oldest accounts. I reviewed those lists after the shut-off accounts had been selected. In fact, I think I shared it at that finance committee meeting, which was March 6th maybe. I think it was the first week of March. That's how they are being selected. In terms of what needs to be done in order to have water service restored, we actually had a discussion about this, myself and the water clerk, probably right after that finance committee meeting, because previously I don't think there was a set rule as to how much someone had to pay in order to have the water turned back on. It may have been something around 50%, I think, of the outstanding bill. With our new payment processing feature on the website, what we have required people to do was to pay a third, and they had to sign up for automatic payments for the remaining balance of what they owed. So essentially, they had to commit to paying 100% of their bill. And they could be scheduled out through the system, but they couldn't do that themselves. It wasn't a promise. It said, I'll give you $100 today and I'll pay you $100 next Friday. They do pay us $100 today and set up 3 more recurring payments of $100. We set them up here from the village to come out of their checking account or credit card account over the next, I don't think we set a time period, but they had to commit to paying the rest of it in a reasonable amount of time.
It just seemed from the figures that were given at the finance committee meeting earlier today that the amount that was collected was relatively small.
So the amount, what we talked about today, because we didn't have the full report, was the past due amount, and it was very similar to what the past due amount was when we had the meeting in March. Now, keep in mind, every month the village sends out water bills. The residential accounts are done in three sections. So once a quarter, a homeowner, apartment owner, condominium owner gets a bill once every quarter, and the businesses are billed every month. So it's not unusual, for example, for our total outstanding amount to jump by $200,000 or $300,000 in a day when bills go out, and it may stay that way for a week, for 2 weeks, until people get close to the payment due date on the 21st, and then that amount goes down. But you are correct. What we consider past due, that amount has stayed relatively the same since last month. Now, I'm assuming that's a mixture of the shut-offs, the portion of the shut-offs that were paid, and then some other people's bills which aged and got older. And when I get the full report with it by section, I'll be able to know that a little bit better.
And how often do you get the report? Once a month?
I've been getting it about once a month. It's a manual report, unfortunately, the way we have it set up right now, it's not something that just comes out of our billing system. I'm hoping to get us to a point where we can get something that's easier, push of a button so we can keep a closer eye on it.
So it's not something that can be put into an Excel spreadsheet?
The report is actually in Excel, but it comes from different reports within the water system. We have 7 or 8 different reports have different numbers that come and they get manually put into that Excel
I
sheet.
see. Thank you.
I have another question on that. Before winter, will all of these accounts be shut off, but being as they can't be shut off in the winter?
I didn't hear your first word.
I
Before
say,
when?
you said in the winter that these accounts that are past due cannot be shut off. So will all of these accounts be shut off before winter that are past due?
So anybody that's past due today, I would hope we have shut off well before winter. Since
Okay.
we're April, yeah.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else who'd like to address the board? If not, at this time, I will close the floor to public comment.
Sharon,
sorry.
sorry.
I'm sorry.
Like, you know, all your situation, we just tend are here to count our situation. We're waiting so you can take the better decision, not only on our families, you know, and all the neighbor about zoning and Cicero, rezoning and Cicero. We're waiting, very patient, and we hope you can help us to build our house and take care of our kids. That's the only we want to. So we just like to present our situation. We are living in the basement with our 4 kids, waiting for we can start building our house. So we're waiting so you can take that decision for us, please.
Thank you. Sorry, I didn't see you. Is there anybody else? If not, I'll close the floor to public comment. Move on to trustee business. Trustee Kress?
I have some updates and some things I'd like to discuss. First thing I have on the meeting is, on the agenda is attendance at meetings. And I just wanted to stress again, and we talked about this a bit earlier, but I have the minutes from the Calumet Stormwater Collaborative, which was held on Good Friday, and I went to that meeting. And I had asked a question as to some of Blue Island's successes, because they've got tremendous success with a number of their projects. I'd be happy to share the minutes with anybody who would like to read them. And their response was, Danielle Gillette, who was facilitating the Stormwater Collaborative meeting that day from the Metropolitan Planning Council, said, it's important to show up at the table. And so I just want to stress that to the board, that it's important for all of us to show up at the table. And I realize that some have jobs that don't permit them to show up at the table during the day, but it's equally as important for our department heads and their assistants to show up at the table, and not just to go to the meeting. You've got to go there and you've got to talk to people and you've got to network and you've got to go and you've got to talk. And really, when I'm at these meetings, I never get out of there because I stay and I talk and I beg for money from Midlothian. I do. I think sometimes they want to run away from me. But I just want to stress that. I think it's really important. I sent an email out to somebody else today saying, can we meet for lunch? I need your help. So, again, Danielle said, you got to show up at the table. And so many, there's all these people and they're at the table. And we got to make sure we're at the table because there's funding out there and there's people that can help us. But if they don't know about us, they're not going to be able to help us. So I just wanted to stress that. It's so important. It's so important as we struggle with many of our issues, flooding, finances. We have to educate on behalf of Midlothian. Policy update, I guarantee you by the next meeting, I was planning to have 2 policies to present this evening, but the Finance Committee took an enormous amount of my energy and effort, so I apologize. I did not get the drafts written. Capital improvement bond fund payments. This was just a question that I wanted to bring up and bring it to the board's attention because I had sent an email to Ryan Command and I had asked him I had not seen any of the checks issued from the $100,000 grant from Representative Will Davis. And I said, where could I find, on what board bill could I find these checks? And he said they were paid from the Capital Improvement Bond Fund. I guess my question is, shouldn't those have come before the board? Because we had an instance before, I think a number of them, and Mayor, you brought it to our attention, that payments were made from the Capital Improvement Bond Fund that were not brought to the board. And I thought any payments out of the bond fund were supposed to come to the board and be approved.
I agree. I will make sure anything else from now on comes before the board for approval prior.
Okay, I just think it's really important. Grant updates, I have been working with the new buyer for grills on the Phase 2 study. We actually had a conference call with his lender today and him and our team at Weaver Consultants. They need to do some supplemental drillings, but I think we have a plan worked out so that it will happen, and Mr. Grill can close this week. It's been a real eye-opening process about what they have to close an open ticket for a underground storage tank. So anyway, long story short, our consultants at Weaver have been phenomenal helping us navigate and trying to get the supplemental drillings covered by the EPA grant. So I've been working with the new potential owner, and I think he's going to be a great asset to the community. He's been a delight to work with. I had a meeting yesterday on the Illinois Green Infrastructure Grant with Eric Nahu from Weaver Booz and Brett Mango from the commander of the VFW post, 2580. And hopefully this year you are going to see construction on that site, and I continue to look for other funding opportunities so that we can make that a wonderful asset. So, and the VFW is going to donate money to that project as well. So, Rain Ready, we have our first Rain Ready Steering Committee meeting tomorrow morning here at 9:30. And I had asked Harriet Festing to assist putting the agenda together. It has been posted, so we are in compliance in the event anybody shows up. Compliance with the Open Meetings Act, and it will be our first meeting, and I understand there might be homemade cookies. Rumor has it there might be homemade cookies. So that's exciting. Stay tuned as we move ahead with Rain Ready under the leadership and guidance of Harriet Festing. But it's our committee, so we're moving forward. And on Monday evening at 7 p.m., the Veterans Committee will be meeting here, and George and Dave are here from the Veterans Committee, so we will have that meeting on Monday evening. And how could I forget this? Just an update that I got from another one of my good friends, the developer for Right Way. And it's not on the agenda because I just got this yesterday. So, as you recall, they had all kinds of demands, and I responded that the board wasn't going to consider anything unless they put up a permanent structure. So here's the latest. Hi, Karen. I have spoken to Right Way, and they have agreed to build a permanent structure on their site. Isn't that amazing? But also contingent upon the granting of a Class 8 on the site, as well as the new construction. I don't quite know what that means. Additionally, they require the implementation of revenue sharing to make the deal work. Here's the heart of the issue. Over the course of the last 3 years, property taxes have doubled. Given this additional expense, the dealership must generate sales of $500,000 in order to service that portion of the debt. You couple that with increases in fixed debt and other costs, and you can see that the incentives are necessary. I would appreciate your thoughts. So now that I have to go back to them again for the 1,000th time, I need some direction. The board had said prior, I believe the board's direction was either a Class 8 or a revenue sharing. Has that changed? And I did not, you know what, was preparing for the Finance Committee meeting, so I worked on running the numbers for the one Class 8 extension. I did not have time to run their sales, or their property tax numbers. I can do that. But Gary, you're looking at me,
I don't think it's changed, I think.
it's one or the other?
See which one best suits the village.
Or maybe we sit down and we negotiate it with them.
Well, we have to know what kind of
Sales,
sales are gonna generate,
Right.
what they generate now, what they think they're gonna be able to generate. And, you know, I think,
Well, the new building is gonna help them sell more cars.
oh, absolutely.
Build it, you will come.
yeah, and depending on the size of the building. So we went from the prefab to now they're gonna put up a permanent structure. Okay, I'll get some more information. I mean, obviously, this is, I've been going back and forth with them now for a couple months. So how about I get more information and I'll bring it back to the board?
What their taxes are now, and what their sales are now, what they think they can sell.
Okay. And that's all I have.
Trustee Shimoni?
All I have is the planning commission met last night, and for lack of a quorum, they did not have a meeting. So the next meeting is set for July 14th at 7 o'clock. That's all that I have.
Thank you. Trustee Gillis?
Yes, so beautification committee is meeting tomorrow at 7 p.m. I'm sure top on your agenda will be getting out the planter containers and getting the downtown area looking really nice. I left on everybody's desk a copy of the Robbins Fire critique from December 19th. My reason for doing this is just to give you an update on some of the technical decisions that were made and the changes and recommendations for future sites and corrections by Mavis himself. So the district is on top of it. Thank God nobody got killed in this incident, but I opened eyes for the whole Mavis division to make some important changes, so that's going on. Just to give you an update, with the fire department, they have developed an electrical issue with the squad that's being checked out, and in case anybody hasn't seen it, the new ambulance has been put in service with the detail painting completed. It looks really nice, so things are going real good with that. Superintendent Sperry has been working on getting the landscape contracts. I supplied you with the lowest contract that has been received. The prices have ranged from $14,000 to $34,000 based on different companies. But the big thing that we need to look at is the foreclosed homes. There are contracts that haven't included in it. The one that I gave you did, but the price is similar to how it was last year. So that may be something we may want to pull out and just do separately instead of keeping it involved with the permanent landscape that's going on. Because obviously that's going to change from month to month, but it is quite a bit of high fee for that being completed. So I have
The 14,400 was full service one, that included upkeep of the vacant home, right?
No.
No.
no, that one was $55 a foreclosed home. So I mean, there are cheaper ways of getting it done. You know, and obviously we bill these people, but we don't collect the money right away. So I mean, that's going to come out of our general fund to get this paid. So we want to make sure we get the best bang for our buck. So that's what I'm saying. It may be to our benefit to separate that from the landscape contract to the rest of our needs. But Superintendent Sperry is collecting those, and we'll have a decision for next board meeting. I know that everybody was copied on the information pertaining to the water tower. We do have a game plan in place because we do get the funds that we need to complete that. Robinson Engineering sent that out, so it has projected site work and everything in a calendar situation, so that's there for everybody to review. Lastly, I have decided to do a little investigation on our metro tracks, and I'm pleased to inform the board that Superintendent Sperry has a site plan review with the job foreman Friday at 11 o'clock. Basically, they're going to look at Pulaski first, because that's the one that needs more work. There was talk about what they were going to do to repair it. They're not going to be using asphalt, they'll be using concrete at this site. And after the site review, they're also going to make some recommendations for other safety concerns. I do believe we're going to be getting new gates at that site, but repair reviews will be done Friday. And with that, I have been on the phone and sent out some emails, and I actually talked to the engineering department, and he guaranteed me that the work on both tracks will be done finished by July of this year. So based on the work that is needed on Pulaski, that will be done first. That's going to be the more extensive work, so we'll see that one going. And however long that one takes, it should take less of a time to fix 147th Street. So that was good news. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Trustee LaRue.
Yes, ma'am. We continue to push our annual golf outing, the community annual golf outing, to help support the local dare programs. Still in need of golfers, hole sponsors, donations for raffle prizes, so I'll be continuing to push that. And it's Saturday, May 9th at Fountain Hills Golf Course and also. And do you want me to do the rezone? In light of, I attended the public hearing from the zoning board in relation to changing the zoning from B3 to R3 for attractive properties over on Cicero. I attended a meeting and heard their recommendations to the board, and we got the actual minutes from the meeting. And in light of their unanimous recommendation to the board to rezone those properties from B3 to R3, I would like to make a motion.
You'll be looking for a motion.
I'll be looking for a motion. I'll be making a motion that the board approves the recommendation of the zoning board to change the zoning from B3 to R3 for the following addresses: 14817 Cicero Avenue, 14818 South Menard, 140.
Could I stop you? It's wrong.
Yeah, that's wrong.
Can't be hard.
You know what, Gary, before you go, I just wanted to point out to you,
Menard.
yeah, Menard is wrong. And if it's supposed to be Keating, well, because there's another 14818 Keating in the minutes, and 14822 Keating is listed twice. So I'm not sure.
Well, I'll just make my motion that we.
Yeah, we have to correct the addresses.
Right, we'll correct the addresses, but the tract of homes on Cicero Avenue and Keating that have been zoned B3, I'm making a motion that we rezone them R3.
I hope this board gives serious thought to this matter, because this has kind of been a messed up matter from the beginning. Back in January, the board heard a plea for a zoning change on Cicero Avenue, and the zoning board turned it down at that time. And it got down to the fact that the gentleman in question just wanted to put a dormer up on the house, on the roof, raise out a dormer. And the zoning board gave permission for that to happen. And the matter came before the board, and the board concurred with the zoning board that he should be given authority to kick out the dormer on the roof and raise the roof no higher than the center line of the roof. Subsequently, the party involved showed up at Village Hall with plans to tear the whole roof off and put on a second floor. I truly don't believe that the party that's behind this, and I certainly wish them all the best and hope for the best for them, don't quite understand what they want to do. Gary, you asked me last week why they did not have, why couldn't they get a fence permit?
Right.
Well, they were told that they need a plot of survey. They have not tendered a plot of survey yet, nor have they tendered a drawing for where the fence is going to go. They do have a permit for a dumpster, so there has been activity over there. And it is the current building inspector's opinion that he's very, very concerned, because when talking to this gentleman, he was told by this gentleman that his friends who knew construction business were going to do the work. And Mr. Moneypenny told him, sir, you have to understand, there's a lot of high-tech work going on here, plumbing, electricity, and everything else. Friends have to be certified and bonded, you just cannot bring friends in to do this stuff. And I don't know that he grasped that in its entirety. Once again, and I'm gonna add this part on my own. You know, we've worked hard on Cicero Avenue for quite a while here, and maybe we're coming to see fruition going on with a commercial enterprise zone. And I'm still holding out for the fact that maybe at some point we'll see somebody come in there and put up a 5-story or 4-story building with 6 condos above it and businesses down below it. What a shot in the arm that would give to that area there. And this is not to mean that people can't do what they want to do with their homes. They can't expand them beyond reason, the footprint of it, but they can do whatever they want. A couple of the ladies I talked to at the zoning board meeting were under the opinion that they couldn't put siding on, they couldn't put sidewalks in, they couldn't do any of that stuff. And I told them, that's completely false. You can remodel your house to whatever the needs you want them to be. So I don't have an issue with the folks on Keating. I'm hoping that we really give this consideration it's due, because we're trying to do the right thing here on Cicero Avenue. And Karen brought it up last week. She was concerned about the building, for the Chrysler building, about the facade. And she based her discussion on the fact that there's a Cicero Avenue plan in place to make sure it's right, it's done right. And I sit with the people on the planning commission, I sit with the people on the zoning board. And these people put a lot of time, their own personal time in all this stuff. And to just summarily decide, well, we don't care what you think or whatever, we're gonna go ahead and do this because of whatever. I mean, these people have a grasp, a lot of them were involved in the original downtown planning and streetscape and all that stuff, and they put a lot of time into this stuff, and just to summarily push it away. Plus the fact, I'm under the impression we're gonna have another zoning board issue here coming up very soon with 147 cars there, .com. Because now he decided, because the board made an exception for him, that now he should be able to rebuild engines in the middle of town, which the downtown plan doesn't call for that at all. So you folks have a hard decision here to make tonight. And the future Midlothians on here on this is where we're gonna go. Are we gonna go back, we're gonna go back 2 steps and take 1 forward and continually go back 2? Or are we gonna try to set a plan like other towns do and stick with their plan and tell people, please join us, we'll help you as much as we can, but this is our plan, this is our model, this is where we wanna go, this is what we wanna be. If you can't understand that, then maybe we can help you in another fashion, but it's very important. This is a big decision going to happen here tonight, and I hope no one takes it lightly. The family is here tonight, and I understand them completely. They're certainly welcome to start tomorrow with go with their dormer, put their dormer up, and they can do that. There's nobody stopping them from doing that, but to do a complete tear off and whatever, I don't see it's in the best interest of the village at this time. That's what I have.
Be it as it may, the zoning board unanimously approved the recommendation to rezone it from B3 to R3. So I'd stick with that. And my other comment would be that if we ever had a developer knocking on our door that wanted to do the multi-story, multi-use buildings, we could work out a deal with them if they were going to purchase the property and rezone it B3, if all the property owners wanted.
What if he just comes into town and asks, what is this zone? And they say, well, it's zone residential. And he turns around and walks away. That's the problem.
Well,
Constantly,
we have multiple properties here in the downtown area that have been zoned that for a long time, and we've yet to have a developer
well,
there.
we've
Going
had-
farther away from the train station doesn't make sense that they make multi-use farther away from the train station.
It's a very busy section over there, and somebody putting up 30 condominiums or 18 condominiums would add tremendously to the trade over there, to all the businesses over there, and why not? I mean, there's all these stores and shops over there now. Why wouldn't somebody ask, come in and ask, be interested? And like I said, if somebody comes in and asks somebody without going through formal channels and find out that it's zone residential, we may not even have a shot at it. I don't know why we're throwing all our eggs in one basket. I really don't for this one. I mean,
Is there any property right now that we foresee in the future to run a business out of that area? I know there used to be a tuxedo shop in one of the houses
I
on
haven't
First
been
Floor.
watched by any.
On the corner.
Yeah.
You know, I think there was put commercial for a reason, because I think there was, at the time, the planning commission thought there was a possibility of having commercial development. And certainly when you look next door to Thornton, you know, it's a similar plot that, you know, it was turned into a very profitable thing for Midlothian. You know, I think if anything can be changed in zoning. The only thing is, you know, there's people right across the street. If you look at right across the street in Oak Forest, there's 2 or 3 homes right across the street who are selling their homes for commercial development. And I think it's going to come to a choice that people do want, that they're going to pick one side or the other, which is the cheapest one to do, and which is less rigmarole. And you know, putting a second story in the house is going to make that house worth a lot more. It's going to be more expensive for the developer to do. Plus, you know, if that house keeps on getting sold and so on and forth, it's more messy for the developer to assemble those properties. The people across the street are all zoned commercial, and they're all putting it up for sale as a commercial development. I think it's much easier for a developer to assemble those properties and go across the street. I think it's better if we leave it commercial, let him put up his dormer. I don't understand. I guess maybe the mayor can help me with this. I don't know and this is an unusual situation, so I don't know. This is the only property in Midlothian that is residential right now, but it's zoned commercial. I don't know if any other properties, but how does, you know, when they come in, does anybody check the zoning? How do they get a transfer stamp, I guess? Because, you know, under normal situations, you wouldn't think they could get a transfer stamp because this is the wrong zoning. How do we say? In other words, my question is, if they're putting up a building and it's zoned properly, is there any way we check to make sure that we don't offer a transfer stamp to them, so that, how do we stop them from putting a building in or changing or buying something that is wrong according to the zone?
I don't know, and actually, I thought that would fall on the real estate people, you know, or their attorney, the person's attorney.
Yeah.
I have no idea. Like I said, I don't know if we quantify, well, oh, you're buying it, you think it's a house. Maybe we didn't know who was buying it, maybe we thought it was somebody who was gonna put in the business. I have no idea.
You bring up a valid point now, because this is actually the dilemma that's ongoing now. We'll never know whether the attorney or the homeowner did his due diligence, or the homeowner misunderstood him. We'll never know that question. And the point of it is, as we all know that have been involved in real estate, the attorney should have told him that this is a commercial property, this is his own business, and whatever. And it's a terrible thing that wasn't there. But like I said, we don't know. Maybe he did tell him and he misunderstood, whatever. I don't know what it is.
Bottom line is, we have residents in those residences right now, and one of them in particular wants to do a renovation to the home, so we haven't had any interest in that part of town for multi-use buildings, much less the rest of Midlothian. Still have a number of vacant properties, businesses, vacant land. If we had everything filled and there was still business developers knocking down our door, then I could see us leaving. But at this point, we
don't know
have families living in homes that want to renovate. So
how many residences are there on Cicero Avenue in Preston?
I don't have those figures.
I don't either, but my guess is very few, if any. We have to make a choice. It's a hard choice. We have to make a choice. Are we going to step forward, or are we going to continue to take new steps backward? I don't know. I don't know. Tonight you make an important decision.
I just want to point out too that we have this on Cicero, but we also have it on Kedzie. I, in the past, owned 2 homes on Kedzie, and what I was told back then, that it was zoned residential, but it was also a business district. So if I ever wanted to renew an addition on my house or knock the house down and build another house, I couldn't because of the zone. So we may have this problem again down the road too. So this is something I think we really need to look into.
That's why I believe it's going to R3, not R1 or R2.
I just think that we don't have a lot of property property on Cicero except for hopefully the development of 147th and Cicero. And it's tough to give up property like that. I think Cicero is certainly the highest taxed area, and I think it has the most potential for us. I can see somebody going over there fairly easily, especially since the economy's picking up. I don't know if we want to throw any roadblocks in the way of people who want to do that. I know, just a stupid story, but my in-laws lived on 141st and Pulaski, Crestwood, and they had that same zoning, exact same zoning. They were in a house and they wanted to make an improvement. Crestwood came over to them and said, "Who? You're not making an improvement, and no, if you don't, you can't sell this house to anybody but a commercial person." I don't know, and they, I don't know why we should change our horses in the middle of the stream. I think Dormer, fine, but I think we have to hold our line here. I think the potential in Cicero is a key element, and I think it's could be our greatest money maker. Anyway, we need a second of this.
I have a motion. I'd be looking for a second.
I'll make the second.
Well, we were here when they.
Any further discussion? Roll call.
Unanimously.
Trustee LaRue.
Aye.
Trustee Kreis.
Aye.
Trustee Gillis.
Nay.
Trustee Killily.
No.
Trustee Masko.
Nay.
Trustee Schiavone.
Nay.
Motion fails.
Okay. Trustee Miller?
I have a lot of things to try to call with you. On the CRS update, we found out, thanks to Trustee Price, that we were a little asleep at the wheel here. I'm still getting our sea legs. That we have to have a community assistance visit. And then we joined the National Flood Insurance Plan in 2008. At that time, we passed a number of ordinances that the National Flood Insurance Plan wanted us to pass so that we could join the plan and get flood insurance. What they want to do with the community assistance visit is have a visitor from FEMA basically look at how we're managing the flood plains and floodways, make sure it's up to their standards, and making sure that we are actually following our own, verifying that actually we're following our own ordinances, and they might suggest additions to some of our ordinances also. We have to be up to snuff on that in order to apply for a community rating service. So the first thing is to get that person out there. To do that, we have to start, and we have to send a letter of interest to FEMA. And that's to do one more. And so basically what we need to do is we need to, I think I would like the board to do it to pass a resolution that Midlothian is interested in joining the community rating service. We send a letter in for that, and we have to appoint, hopefully I have enough.
Yeah.
We have to appoint a community rating service coordinator, and somebody who's they can talk to when we're doing the applying for a community rating service. I think in our discussion, I would think it could be a trustee, but I would like to suggest that Kathy Kagan, who's on our committee, be appointed as the community rating service officer for contact with FEMA. And I don't know if the mayor has any other ideas about that, or anybody else has any other ideas, but I think Kathy's done a wonderful job so far. She's very, very interested in all this, and she's really taken the bull by the horns and advancing this whole project quickly. Remember, the community rating service basically is two things: is to enable people to get a discount on their flood insurance. Number two, if there is a catastrophic flood like there was 2 years ago, that FEMA emergency money will be available to those homeowners affected, either in grants and aid or by loans. So would ask that, I don't know if we need to appoint Kathy formally. I think we would like that, to appoint her formally at the next meeting, if everybody's okay with that. And also to pass a resolution that we want to join FEMA, have the mayor sign it and send it in and get everything started. The other, if that's okay. The other issue we had was that we continue to run into this money problem. Probably with the community assistance visit, we probably have to have Jeff, our engineer, there, because they are going to tour the floodplain, which we probably can do ourselves, but then they're going to talk to the village officials, probably Joe Sperry and our engineer, and ask them questions about how they are doing certain things, and are they according to to our code. They actually are also want to inspect our permits to make sure that we don't issue permits for the wrong things, issue buildings and floodways when there shouldn't be, and so on and so forth. So they're going to ask for that kind of verification. That all costs money. I had the brilliant idea, which wasn't so brilliant, of I don't know. I'm not sure why Jeff has to be at the board meetings. I don't know if he doesn't. I don't know if he's really essential, not in my opinion. I think the mayor's also. But I thought Jeff was getting paid. Jeff doesn't get paid for the meetings. So my idea was to trade the time from Jeff at the meetings to give us time for assistance for CRS. I'd still like to ask Jeff possibly if he didn't show up at the meetings, would he give us a discount for technical assistance for CRS? Maybe he could ask us some questions, he could give us a discount. Anything we can do to save money, because now we need a community assistant visit, and there might be other issues with that if they say we want some changes. And now we're back to community rating service, which I think we can do a lot ourselves. I really do a ton of this work ourselves, but we do need him for certain things that he has to supply us with. And,
Wouldn't we have to approach Robinson for that, though, not Jeff personally?
well, I'm going to ask Jeff, and if it's okay with him and his firm. I don't want Jeff doing any more fire either, obviously, but I would hope that we could work out something where for sort of easy questions that it isn't charged, if he's, for other things, what's fair is fair, and he's got to put a lot of time, or they have to pay for things to supply, so sure, they bill us for it. I've asked Jeff for the shopping list and see how much it's gonna be, and as of last night, I had to have it, maybe he emailed it to me this morning. I was busy with other finance things, so I'm sure.
And just if I could piggyback on it, I'm still trying to hunt down money. Had a conversation about it yesterday, and that was what my email today was.
The biggest problem we have here is that, which was another thing we didn't know, and now we know, but thanks to you, is more bad news. There's only 2 times we can apply during the year for community rating service, either May or October. So if we get the CAV, community assistance visit going, and everything goes right, and we don't have to do too much else, then maybe by the skin of our teeth, we can apply for community rating service. And I would say, even if we're not all the way done, we probably should do that anyway, because there'll be a time lag when we get a visit, so we can clean up our act and get everything ready on the application. But May or October, I don't want to wait till October if we can avoid it. Maybe that's unavoidable, but I didn't know that either, thanks to you. Now I know, but we
And
do it before.
honestly, from the investigating I've done, we may not be ready until next May. It's that long and arduous of a process.
And the community assistance visit is the key thing. I think we can.
It is,
I
it
think
is.
we can control community rating service. I don't know if we can control CAB. That might be something different because the rules might have changed. Jeff's suggestion was, I asked him about it, he said, let them come in and tell us what's wrong. We're not, and there may be things wrong, and that may take time to address. So we can try to do the best we can and see where it goes. But if we could put the 2 things on the agenda next week, I think that would be helpful. Let's see, is there anything else? Oh, yes, actually, Safety Committee will meet April 21st, and there may be changes in the Safety Committee, how it operates. We'll have to see if two of the boards think it's appropriate for how we propose it, so I won't say much else about that. Let the Safety Committee see how they want to do this. There's an exciting thing that just came through. actually this morning from, that I was notified by the land bank. I read an article in the newspaper. Basically, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac are the lenders or the subsidizers for mortgage lenders of about 90 to 95% of homes. They, of course, are stuck with a lot of foreclosed homes in Midlothian and everywhere else. They have just initiated a program where they will give substantial decrease in the price of their foreclosed homes to nonprofit organizations. They want to get rid of them. This time, they're actually going to do more on the loans they have out. They're going to try to, what they say, they're going to try to give them a little better deals, see if they can keep them from being foreclosed on. But for us, what that means is that we have a wonderful nonprofit organization, which we're part of, South Suburban Land Bank, tailor-made to do this whole thing. I looked at it briefly in their map. That I saw, I didn't look at all. We probably have 10, 15 homes right off the bat that are up on this thing. They will offer those things. They will offer the homes to South Suburban Land Bank at a very reduced cost. All we have to do is tell the land bank to do it. And the land bank, basically, of course, its job is to get these homes occupied, preferably rehab them if necessary, and preferably get them sold, if not, to get them rented. But the land bank does a heck of a job, very professional. They've hired people who are very professional to do rehabbing. They have real estate agents who pass on to know what they're doing. I would suggest that we tell the land bank, grab as much as you can in Midlothian and try to get them occupied. I think that's, and this will keep on going now. This is just now, if more homes are foreclosed on, they'll be offered up then the same thing. The land bank is probably one of the few nonprofit groups that will be participating in this because most of the other ones can't handle it. They're not set up to do what the land bank can do. So it's exciting, and if you don't have any objection, we'll email the director tomorrow and say, hey, get everything you can plus.
Sounds good.
That's all I have.
Trustee Mosco.
Yes, Mayor, just one item for everyone's benefit. I know the whole board was able to attend a very long finance committee meeting today. In all seriousness, it was probably the longest agenda I think we've had at a finance meeting in the last maybe 7 years that we've been meeting. We covered a number of things, the standard things we like to talk about, or that we ought to be talking about, the treasurer's report. I want to thank Trustee Killey for his work on tweaking the cash projection, to update some numbers and do some digging into things and check reasonableness. I think that yielded a much different picture than we've been seeing, to the good, which is a good thing. We talked a little bit about our year-to-date financials. The budget is still a work in process, so more to come on that topic, and I think we will probably just dedicate a whole meeting to that the next time we meet, sometime in the next few weeks. We talked about some other items that had been on our list previously, such as the food and beverage tax, which we're going to wait a bit on and see what our financials look like and what type of information the mayor gets from the Department of Revenue, I believe that's coming from. We will be launching a search for a building superintendent. We're preparing an RFP for some audit services. We discussed another Class 8 extension request, and we talked about looking at the possibility of utility audit. So I think there was quite an extensive list of things to talk about today. This was all before an executive session, so good meeting. I think a lot was done. There was a lot of work done to prepare for the meeting, and thanks to all the board that was able to attend today. I think that sent a good message to those of you who were here, who were also here earlier today, for spending a good portion of your afternoon and night with us. It's a good meeting. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Under my business, I just wanted the board to be aware of that our garbage contract is up as the end of this year. And so to that end, I've already been approached by Republic, and I in turn have gone out I received correspondence from other garbage companies who wanted to do business with the Village of Midlothian, and I've asked them to get me proposals. So as soon as I can get all the proposals together, I'll be presenting them to the board for your consideration and see where you want to go from here.
I think though, don't we have to go do like we have to do big specs and go out for this?
Over 20,000.
Yeah, oh, we have to do the formal bid specs and they have to go out and then we open sealed bids at a board meeting.
Okay, because I figured with it being a service, it didn't have to go out for a bid. It could go out for a request for proposal, but not bid.
I don't know what the law says.
I almost
I believe
think,
because it's service contracted, it's not a tangible.
Mhm.
I'll double check with the attorney.
Yeah.
Okay, just double check and see what
I'm
goes.
thinking, going back, that has to go out to bid and we have to have all the prevailing wage, information in there and all that standard language.
Breakdown on all.
Pardon me?
You have to have a breakdown on all that.
On all that, yeah, it would be, they'd have to know how many houses they have to serve. I mean, I think you could probably have Joe go back in the archives to see when we last put it out.
It's been, multiple.
13 years.
We've
Well,
had
13
many extensions, but I think it has to go,
Yeah.
I think it has to go out.
Because they did last extension, probably 3
Probably
years.
20.
But I could be wrong.
They would do 5 years extensions. That's what it seemed to be to me. It was a 5-year, we just finished the last of a 5-year extension.
Yeah. We might not have done the full 5 last
We
time.
have an option on that, taking lowest bidder, but
That's true. We can take the lowest responsible bidder, I believe. But putting it out, it would be, there should be something back there, just like this when you went out for quotes for, this was under 20,000, for the landscaping. But I think for contracts like that, I think we have to go out.
Okay.
It has to be very precise.
Okay. And then I just wanted to give you a quick RDA update on the Cicero Avenue properties. The RDA is in the hands of Drive Time. They have recently just changed law firms, so they will be reviewing. Also, we're working on the RDA with Ricky Rockets. Actually, Attorney Gleason and myself are meeting with Kane and McKenna on this Friday, so they can help us make sure that we're getting everything in the RDAs to benefit the village. So I will keep you guys posted on that, and that's all I have this
What
evening.
about Barrett?
Oh, I'm sorry, and the Barra,
Brigham.
we're still, Barra, Burgum, whatever it's called this week. The RDA over there, we're still working through. It appears that the language in the RDA said that as long as design built, they got whatever we promised and approved for Brigham. And so I've now been getting, I actually got an email, I just haven't had a chance to read it, from Jim Lapatina showing his building on top of the building that was supposed to be there. They're identical in size. They understand they do have to put in a foundation, but they're still asking for the request of a lot line to lot line. And so I'm gonna have Mike review it again, make sure, but it appears that even though they're going to demolish and put up, they thought they could demolish, put up exactly what Brigham was going to remodel. Does that make sense to everybody? So we're still working on that one.
That they would probably took a draw over there.
Yeah.
It doesn't appear that all the other businesses are the same way. They go right up to the sidewalk
Sidewalks.
and they take the whole lot. I mean, they want to maximize their inner space. So.
Right. That's why he's requesting it. So, like I said, I got an email, I just haven't had a chance to read it, so
that's fine on the sidewalks. He's going up against that apartment building over there on the other side of the lot line. That might be an issue, so that would take conversation.
mhm. So that's the only things I'm working on. So, Mike, do you have anything for us?
I have nothing.
Okay. With that being said, with nothing else to come before the board this evening, I'd be looking for a motion to adjourn at 7:59.
Make a motion.
Second. Karen?
Karen, second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Opposed? We are adjourned.